Hello everyone, welcome. I haven't uploaded anything in a long time, so I figured I'd do something. I've been wanting to make some sort of video on this game in particular for a while now. Most of you can probably tell what it is. It's Final Fantasy VII. Um, and yeah. The thing is, I wanted to make some kind of review or something of this game, but it's just too much. I have too much to say. It's so much editing. So I figured just playing through the whole thing and kind of giving a commentary of it would be better, because then I can talk about every aspect, including this intro, which is fantastic. This game came out in 1997, and these FMVs, well, it looks dated, and I'll get into that the more we play this game, or the more I play it and you watch. But for the time, oh man, this looked fucking incredible. Like, nobody had ever seen anything like this. Especially that, that dolly up. See this mega city of Midgar up into the title and the music, and it's just fantastic. Really, I just have a lot of thoughts about this game I want to get out, so that's why I'm doing this. I am recording this voiceover in post, so I've already recorded the footage for this game, and I'm kind of just so I can edit out some of the more tedious stuff, because this is, after all, a JRPG, so there's some stuff that's a little slower, maybe not as entertaining to watch. So I recorded the game first, so then I could edit that stuff out and only focus on the cool stuff. There's not going to be a lot of editing early on, just because I kind of want to show you guys what the game is like and like all that stuff. Maybe you haven't played this game, want to see what it's all about, or aren't convinced that the game is good, which it is, think it's overrated, whatever. Here I am adjusting the controls, because I'm playing the original PlayStation version just because it's the easiest for me to record. I am using an emulator. So there's me adjusting the controls, because on the original PlayStation version, confirm is circle and cancel is X, which if you know PlayStation, you know that's backwards. It should be the other way. So yeah, I just changed that, and we're heading into our first battle here. The game is turn-based. It's Final Fantasy. Good Final Fantasy, anyway. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but combat is turn-based. We have this ex-soldier here, who we will name in just a bit. His name's Cloud. You know who this is. If you don't, then you probably, I don't know why you would be watching this video. How would you even look up Final Fantasy VII if you didn't know who Cloud was? Anyway, so yeah, this is Cloud. He is an ex-soldier, as they're explaining here. Soldier is a part of the military of this Shinra corporation, who has pretty much taken over the entire world. They have a government. They run. They basically run the world, and they have a military, and part of the elite soldiers of that military, it's a group called Soldier, and Cloud was previously a part of that group. And now he has left Shinra and is now working for pretty much a terrorist organization called Avalanche, who is led by this guy who's named Barrett, who is what Japanese people think black people are like. No, I love Barrett. He's got some problems. Every character in this game's got some problems. Just fair warning. This game is not happy-go-lucky, happy sunshine rainbow, gay fun time. It's not that. This is one of the darker games in the series, I would say, but it's also one of the funnier ones, and I'll get into that. There's a lot of reasons why I love this game, but this intro here is a big reason why, and it kind of sets up what the rest of the game is like. You might notice this intro is kind of just throwing you right into it, right? A lot of JRPGs are kind of like, they're a bit slower, you know? They usually like to ease you into it a bit more, maybe have a tutorial, maybe introduce it like oh, you're the chosen one and you have to stop Smeckledorf or something from taking over the world. And it's usually a couple hours before it really gets going, because it's trying to teach you how the game works and stuff. This game does that while still being fun from the very start. So what Cloud and Barrett are talking about here is the Shinra Corporation has these Mako reactors. Mako is an energy source that comes from the planet that is fueling Midgar. It's what fuels the entire city. And they are sucking it up out of the planet to use as an energy source, which has the effect of killing the planet. So what we're doing right now as Avalanche is we're going into this reactor to blow it the fuck up to get them to stop, because as Barrett says, the planet's dying. So yeah. That's not relevant today at all, right? Corporations destroying the planet? Nah. And then Cloud is here. Barrett's super passionate about this. He hates the Shinra and hates what they're doing. Cloud doesn't really care. Cloud's just in it for the money. He's a mercenary that Avalanche hired. He doesn't really care about their moral values or anything. He's just in it for the money and for another reason that it'll get into a bit later. But immediately in this opening, a lot's happening. Story-wise, it feels like almost you're being thrown into the middle of it. You know, like a Star Wars kind of thing. That's not the only comparison Final Fantasy you can make to Star Wars. It's almost asking for it sometimes. And now we have one of my favorite songs in the game, which is the main battle theme. This battle theme, it might be my favorite on the whole series. I love this soundtrack, by the way. This is one of my all-time favorite video game soundtracks. I think it's just fantastic. And there's the classic victory jingle that's in pretty much every Final Fantasy game. You might notice this is not very heavily scripted. This is just kind of me talking about moments that I like in this game, talking about stuff that I like. It's kind of more of just a chill vibe, more than a full-on like review. You know, I'm gonna be playing through it. It's a commentary. There's not really gonna be any scripting or anything like that. I'm just gonna kind of be talking. Of course, I kind of plan out things that I want to say, but I don't write it down and rehearse it or anything like that. That's another reason I kind of wanted to do this, so it could be more my natural thoughts rather than them being kind of changed from me, like having to write it and make it sound funny or entertaining or whatever. Because this game really is something special, and it's also worth seeing all the way through. I'm going to try to show it, like I said, in a way that's more entertaining than just watching somebody play it. I will be editing out some bad stuff, especially later on. Not bad stuff, just less fun stuff to watch. And also we'll be talking about, because many people think this game is incredibly overrated, and I will be talking about why that is, points that people bring up, and why I don't think it's overrated. I think this game's fantastic. No, I mean overrated in the sense that people say it's the best game ever made. I don't think it's that, but I do think it's one of the best RPGs ever made, for sure. And those are save points where we've reached the bottom of the reactor. We're going to plant the bomb, then we're going to skedaddle the fuck out of here so it can blow up, and basically say, you know, fuck you to Shinra. You know, this first part of the game, I'll start editing out more random encounters later. I just, like I said, kind of want to give you an idea of how the game works. You know, there are random battles. There's me misinputting that bolt was meant for the big guy in the back, but oh well. But, you know, starting in probably the next part, I'll start getting out more random encounters. If there's like a new enemy or something cool that happens in the random encounter, I'll leave it in. Otherwise, I'll leave it out just to save time and to make this more entertaining, so we can get to the good stuff in this game, which is the story and the boss fights and all that stuff. But yeah, this is just kind of how the game works. It immediately, like I said, it throws you into it. Immediately, you're fighting bad guys, you're having fun. Or are they really bad guys? I don't know, because I mean, we're terrorists. I know Shinra's killing the planet and stuff, but like, what we're about to do here has consequences beyond just screwing over Shinra, and it'll get into that. So now we're at the bottom, and Cloud's that was weird. Cloud just did something weird. This isn't just a reactor, huh? That's a little weird. Maybe it's foreshadowing something. This game, I love this game, but it is not exactly very subtle with its foreshadowing. You can tell when it's foreshadowing something. What it's foreshadowing, that's a different story, but we'll get into that. We're at our first boss fight here. This guy isn't too bad. He's more of just a tutorial boss fight to kind of get you an idea of how the game works. So this game isn't traditional turn-based. It's something called the active time battle system, which basically means that meter at the bottom, the weight meter, once it fills all the way up, a character can do an action. What this means is the enemy also has an active time battle meter or weight meter, and once that fills up, they do an action. So what this means basically is that battles are always moving forward, and enemies will always attack you, even if you are just like standing there not doing anything, which makes it very different from a lot of other turn-based games where you can kind of stop and really think about what you're doing and strategize and like really, you can't do that here. You kind of have to think on your feet, and I really like that about this game. And all the Final Fantasies from 4 to 9 have this system. And this boss battle kind of teaches you about it because he puts up this scorpion tail, and if you attack it, as Barrett's saying here, I think that's Barrett or it's Cloud saying, there's me fucking around with the menus. If you attack it while its tail's up, it's gonna do a counter attack that's gonna hurt like a motherfucker. So you don't want to mess with that. So you just let it put its tail down, and then you start attacking again. You might have seen earlier Cloud do something called Braver. That's one of his limit breaks. Limit is a system that was introduced in this game. Basically, if you take enough damage, that meter next to the weight meter fills all the way up. Once it's filled up, the character can do a limit break, which is a super powerful attack, or maybe it heals the party. There's a bunch of different types of limit breaks for different party members. And when you use them, a lot of times, there's a lot of strategy in how and when you use limit breaks, because, especially later in the game, the more powerful limit breaks take a while to charge up. So, when you use them is really important. It adds a lot of strategy to battles. But the game is balanced in a way where limit breaks are almost never required to get through something. This is not the hardest game in the world, so, don't worry about that. So if you don't have a limit break for a certain boss fight or something, you can still get through it usually. I mean, not to say that it would be easy if you aren't at proper levels and stuff, but, Okay, well, that boss fight, like I said, that boss fight's not too bad. It's the first one, And now, we planted the bomb, and now we have a 10-minute time limit to get the hell out of here, because, it'll blow up. 10 minutes is plenty of time, though. Like, in fact, if I'm normally playing this game and not just recording footage, I will sometimes stop and grind here to get an extra level or two, because it gives you that much time. It should take you about 3 minutes to actually get out of here if you're, like, moving fast, including random encounters. And you might notice the timer keeps going down even in encounters, so you got to keep that in mind. But like I said, you should have plenty of time here. And I think I'm about to show off Barrett's limit break here, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep. Limit breaks also will take priority over everything else that's happening, meaning the second you select a limit break, that is the next move that's happening after the current move, no matter what. Which is also really nice, because if a boss is about to throw out this devastating attack, you can use a limit break, and it'll come out before the boss's attack, and then it could kill it because it's super powerful, so you can avoid, dying. And that's always nice. So yeah, we're just trying to get out of here. I should probably, while we're doing this, address the elephant in the room, which is the graphics. I know the opening FMV and the FMVs in this game are really, really impressive for 1997. They look great. I mean, they're dated by today's standards even still, but, for PlayStation 1 it looks great. The rest of the game kind of looks like low-res Roblox, and that's just something you kind of got to get past if you want to enjoy this game, or really pretty much any game from the PlayStation N64 era, because this is just kind of how games looked. Some games look better than others, and 7 definitely... Final Fantasy VII definitely has not aged as well as Final Fantasy 8 or 9, which were also on the PlayStation and I think look much better, but to enjoy this game, you just kind of got to get past it. Once you do, the game is really great. When people say this game's dated, they're mainly talking about the graphics. The game itself really hasn't aged at all. It's the presentation that makes it feel dated. I love that siren sound effect. That's not irritating at all. But yeah, the re-releases of this game on PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch, and also the Steam version, all upscale the models, so the models look way less jaggy and gross. They're still like the same polygon count, so they still kind of look like, Roblox, but they are much higher res than they are in the PlayStation original, which is nice, but they didn't upscale the backgrounds, so they really stick out to these like backgrounds. And these backgrounds, of course, are pre-rendered. They are not, 3D models like the characters are. They are flat images that just have collision detection programmed on them so the characters can run around and stuff. It's actually a really clever way of getting around the limitations, because, like, you could create environments, super detailed environments, that the PlayStation couldn't actually run. But because the PlayStation isn't actually loading any of these, it's just loading an image of these things, it's a really clever workaround. And it gives this game a really unique look, I think. It's dated for sure, but some of the backgrounds are really nice to look at. Anyways, we escaped, and kaboom. 1 reactor down, 7 to go, I think. Is it 7? Yeah, it's 7. There's 8 sectors in Midgar. It'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, that's one hell of a way to open a video game, isn't it? People often complain that JRPGs usually... I think it's a meme that's like, oh, if you want to like JRPGs, you just have to accept that you won't have fun for the first 10 hours. This game isn't like that at all. This game is fun right out of the gate. But anyways, the first reactor is blown up. As you will find out here, that killed hundreds of innocent people. So, how's that for a morally gray area? I mean, we're doing it with the cause of saving the planet, but at what point is saving the planet wrong? To bear it, the ends justify the means, but is it really the right thing to do? I mean, trying to save the planet is important, but so are people's lives. And also, as you can see, this has just caused complete chaos, and this flower girl here doesn't know what's going on. But we're going to be nice, and we're going to buy a flower from her. She's a character of no significance, I assure you. She's definitely not important at all. She will never come back, ever. So, it's fine. You can do whatever you want. Okay, well, there's me spazzing out against an NPC. Don't mind that. The song that's playing here, I believe, is called Anxious Heart, and this is one of my favorite songs in this game. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. So basically, the explosion caused complete chaos. Like I said, it killed hundreds of innocent people. Now parts of the city are suffering power outages because they don't have energy from the reactor. It's just a big mess. But we're saving the planet, I guess. for 1997, that's a pretty complicated, that's a pretty morally gray thing to have you do for a video game. Because, usually video games are pretty simple stories, standard good guys, bad guys, save the princess, etc. This game isn't that at all. This game, I think, almost tries to make an effort to not be that. It's almost like as complicated as possible. Not for the sake of it, but just because the story itself kind of needs it. We'll get into it later. I know the convoluted plot is something a lot of people don't like about this game, but I think it's one of its strongest points. But yeah, so Cloud, just hopped on a train, as you do, to get away from the Shinra soldiers, or the Shinra guards. They are a member of Soldier, but they are soldiers, if you know what I mean. And here are the other people in Avalanche wondering what happened to Cloud. I haven't introduced the other ones. There's Barrett, who's their leader. Then there's Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Biggs and Wedge, those are character names that appear in a lot of Final Fantasy games. It's actually a Star Wars reference, so that's a fun time. And then Jesse, she's just Jesse, And they think Cloud might have died or something. But, we know he didn't. We were just playing as him. He's fine. There he is. Barrett is not slow to call Cloud out on his bullshit. You don't give a damn about anyone but yourself. It's not entirely false. I kind of like this dynamic because everyone else thinks Cloud is so cool, and Barrett just hates him. Barrett does not like Cloud, at first anyway. Thanks, Jesse. That doesn't affect anything. Our face wasn't even pitch black. That was PS1. But yeah, now we're on a train. We're just riding. We're just riding back to the Avalanche hideout, which is in, Sector 7. Barrett's making a scene scaring everyone off. That's great. We will get into the humor of this game more later, but this might be the funniest game in the series. Stop acting like a damn kid. This game is fucking hilarious, and it has to be intentional. Some people might not, there's some moments that might just be funny because of, PS1 graphics, but some stuff, it's so clearly intentional. This game's hilarious. This game cracks me up. That's part of the reason I love this game so much. Is because, the story is this huge epic tale, and we'll get more into it as we go along, but it's also not afraid to have a sense of humor. It's not above just these stupid, bizarro, ridiculous moments, and it's great. So this is Jesse explaining how Midgar is set up. So yeah, there are 8 sectors that all used to have names, but nobody remembers them because Shinra kind of came in and fucked everything up. There's this plate about 50 meters above ground that is where all the rich people live, and all the poor people are stuck below the plate in the slums of Midgar, where they can't even see the sky. So it's not a great thing, but this is what happens when a corporation takes over the world. It's almost like corporations don't have people's best interest in mind or something. Like I said, not relevant themes at all for today. Not even a little bit. A floating city. Pretty unsettling imagery. You are correct, Cloud. You're just full of surprises. Oh, Cloud's full of surprises, alright, Barrett. Don't you worry. Oh boy, Cloud. This game's kind of planting seeds, even from its first moments, about stuff that happens way later in the game, and I love that about it. No one lives in the slums because they want to. It's like this train. It is like this train, Cloud. The train metaphor will come back later, too. There's another one of those FMVs. There's a lot of FMVs in this game. Yeah. They're very impressive. For 1997, like I said, you just kind of got to keep in mind the context. I think with any piece of media, the context is really important for fully appreciating it. Because if you don't know, what other media was doing at the time or what was going on at the time of something coming out, you can't fully understand it. So looking at this game from the perspective of 1997, it's incredibly impressive what they accomplished here. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna just about do it for this part. Barrett here is talking about Avalanche's next mission, so you'll have to tune in next time for that. We'll be meeting another major character and blowing up another reactor, so it's a fun time for all. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this is entertaining. I don't really know, but if you enjoyed it, feel free to watch the next part. This is a great game, and hopefully I can convince that if you don't think so. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.